You're listening to the PRO Media Network. The next level in entertainment.
This is Big Q from the Sports Coma chiming in about the Pro Shop. Pro Shop is the platform store, and over 35 different designs are available for your pleasure. The new Drew Orleans shirts are coming in all colors, all sizes. Also for women, men, and children are available. Built Drew Orleans Tough is also available. Despite Katrina, despite the plagues, despite everything else, we're still built Drew Orleans Tough, and we're gonna make it through it. The very popular God is a Saints fan shirt is available with volume number 2. One shirt that says it all. You'll be the life of the party with your God is a Saints fan shirt. Also other designs like the Chump Missioner tees. We didn't get robbed. The Drew Orleans neck gaiter that's also available now on the Pro Shop. Also I Am Black and Gold Royalty. Tiger, Purple, and Gold Pride. Built NOLA Zion Strong. Won't back down ever. Black and Gold Stand Up, and many other great designs are available at the Pro Shop and provided to you by Pro Apparel. And not only tees or sweaters are available at the Pro Shop, also coffee mugs, smartphone cover cases for your Apple or Android, bedspreads, towels, posters, on and etc. Go to the Pro Shop, support the platform, and represent the style. Who that? Pelican post-game report on the PRO Media Network. I'm Big Q chiming in on this edition of the Pelican post-game report. And as usual, we got team contributor DC, our main contributor DC on the line chiming in. Of course, DC's on the road, so he's going to chime in transit. So please excuse it. DC, how you doing tonight, my friend?
I'm doing wonderful, man.
We got some Pelican talk to talk about, DC, so without further ado, we'll roll into it and talk about some of the stuff that's going on with the Pelicans. Now, of course, one of the big topics of discussion in this edition of the Pelican post-game report, of course, is the fact that Zion Williamson had a family issue that needed his attention. He had to leave, and the story is coming by way of WhoDatDaily.com. For all things Pelican related, check out WhoDatDaily.com, written by Shamika Nixon, who's the Pelican contributor over there, and pretty much let the Pelican and a lot of people know about what was going on with the situation as it was reported upon that he had a family medical issue that required him to leave. There is no time frame now on when Zion will return. He could very well return, sometime during the scrimmage games or after the scrimmage games, once the season, there is no timetable here. Pelicans will have to carry on without team start, which to me is absolutely, they're loaded in terms of how they can play, what they can do or whatnot. So we'll keep an eye on that, and we are hoping Zion and his family is fine and everything is fine with him, and hopefully many returns as Zion Williamson ultimately will come back and take care of business with the team. So outside of that, let's talk about that, DC. Let's talk about the fact that what do the Pelicans do? What do they do without Zion Williamson there? Of course, we got the scrimmage games. Of course, we're going to talk about that momentarily, about these 3 scrimmage games that are set to happen this week. And of course, the preseason matchups after that. What do the Pelicans do to kind of fill in the void, the massive void left by one Zion Williamson, in your opinion?
Man, that's a crazy question, Big Q. You know just as well as I do. There ain't no way you can fill that void. That dude, one-on-one. They only got one player like him, and that's him. So there's really no filling that void. But I can say the Pelicans did foresee this, putting together this unit that Zion could possibly miss time, being able to have a team that could still play very well without him. Alvin Gentry actually spoke to the fact that the Pelicans were, I think, 12, and they won 12 out of 16 games at a point without Zion. So that's very interesting. And I think
because they're deep.
Yeah. Nicolo Melli is a guy that a lot of people who are Pelicans fans know, but maybe the rest of the country hasn't really got a good whiff of. I mean, he had a lot of games where he kind of came in shooting lights out. So, but if you've been a Pelican fan, it's pretty much every time they put him on the floor, good things happen. It would be real nice to see him with Zion, but we haven't seen him much with Derek Favors a lot either. So
right. Well, I mean, DC, your phone kind of broken up. We got most of that though, as well, but we was kind of in and out with your phone. Also, if you look at some of the other information that occurred, the New Orleans Pelicans announced the broadcast schedule date as the first Pelican scrimmages will be streamed live on Pelicans.com mobile app. And, of course, it'll be presented by the Smoothie King Center and Fox Sports New Orleans, teaming up to broadcast all three of the team scrimmages leading up to the 2019-2020 NBA regular season restart. Now, the first two scrimmages will be available via the live stream on Pelicans.com and the Pelicans mobile app. So remember to download those so you can be able to catch the streams. And, of course, the stream is limited to just people within that 75-mile radius of the Smoothie King Center. And that's per the NBA regional broadcast rules. Anybody outside that radius, they won't be able to catch the stream. But perhaps if you can tune into the radio broadcast, you might be able to catch that. The live stream will be accompanied by the Pelicans radio broadcast on ESPN's New Orleans 100.3. And then they'll resume play with their first scrimmage presented on Wednesday, July the 22nd against the Brooklyn Nets. And then New Orleans' second scrimmage will be presented Saturday the 25th versus the Denver Nuggets. And, of course, Fox and New Orleans will televise the final scrimmage game on Monday, July the 27th against the Milwaukee Bucks. And then local television broadcasters, which are our favorites like Joel Myers and Antonio Davis and Jennifer Hale, will be calling the games remotely. So that's a positive, as some normalcy as our regular broadcast team remains with the team. So additionally, or in a remote area, not with the team, if you catch my drift. Now, the Pelicans games will be streamed, of course, on the Fox Sports Go. It's currently available on mobile tablets and whatnot, which you can download that. It's pretty much everywhere. And then, of course, ESPN will carry the Pelicans home radio network, Pelicans home radio network will broadcast the team's 3 scrimmage games in addition to all 8 seeding games remotely from the Smoothie King Center with their play by announcers as well. So the team still stays together. Most of the normalcy behind the team broadcasters are the same moving ahead. And of course, also releases the fact that most of these games, the remaining seeding games, will be covered by Fox Sports, and our regular people for the rest of the season, starting July the 30th when the regular season restarts officially. And then, of course, it'll go to Thursday, August the 13th for the final game against the Orlando Magic. And remember, all this will be inside of the arena or the HP Fieldhouse for all of these games in the NBA City Bubble. So it'll be interesting because there will be no fan in the stands for these games. It'll be really interesting. DC, you heard all that information, my friend. What do you think about some of the stuff that was read about the scheduling, at least some normalcy in that sense?
I still think it's a bit weird, man. I mean, you got all these games played in at one arena. I know they got multiple courts, but this whole situation is just weird. I'm very curious to see what it all looks like. I mean, I'm taking in all the information and how all of that will work, but it's very just blurry because we haven't seen it. So there's no visual I can really put to it mentally. And I don't understand the fact why they would only have the scrimmage games available to certain areas or a certain range. I don't get that. I think those games should be available to anybody who wants to see them. Basically, this is like pretty much a tournament at this point, a little mini baby NCAA Sweet 16 or Sweet 22, whatever you want to call it, their version. So a scrimmage would be like big business, I would think. Any sports at this point, people are dying for some sports, man. So a scrimmage game probably get great views like a regular playoff game right now.
Yeah, I got to agree with you on that. They should have scrapped the 75-mile radius of the Smoothie King Center as far as the scrimmages goes, because all these teams are centralized. So that shouldn't play a factor in the decision, but that's what they ultimately decided to do as far as that goes. Let's move on to the next topic discussion. We have some interviews we're going to play from several people. We'll hear from Josh Hart. We'll hear from Elvin Gentry, and we'll hear from NAW. Up first is Coach Elvin Gentry, his thought process on practice and how he feels about the team and practice moving forward as we get closer and closer to our first scrimmage games. Here's Coach Gentry.
Can you talk about the rookies, Jack, Naw, and even when Zion was in practice? What did you see in their development, particularly on the defensive end, mentally? Or have you seen them grow in understanding of what they need to do on that end?
Well, I think so. I think one of the things that have happened, especially with Jackson as a big guy, especially in screening roles, and those are the toughest adjustments I think you have to make as a big guy in the league, guarding screening roles. And one of the things that he's gotten much better at is that in our screening role defense, the big has to be able to guard two at once. Guard the ball handler as well as his guy rolling to the basket. And he's done a much better job so far of being able to pick up the nuances of understanding what to do in those situations. So I feel like he's gotten better. I think Nikhil has really improved from the standpoint of being able to contain the ball. If he's going to be on the floor defensively, our number one thing is that we have to contain the basketball. And he's done a much better job since we've gotten here and started practice, of being able to contain the ball some. So Zion was getting better just overall defensively from the standpoint of understanding rotations and things like that. So, they made improvements, and we'll just have to see when the actual scrimmage and the games start how much that plays into it.
Hey, Coach Rod Walker with the Times-Picayune Advocate. Today, some NFL players sort of expressed their concerns about returning and playing in the during this pandemic. Why do you think the NBA was so successful in getting their players to buy in and be all in?
Well,
what do you think the NBA did right?
I think you would have to be here to totally understand, but I think they met so many times with the Players Association. I think that the safety first thing really resonated with the players. If you were here, I think you would understand it much better from the standpoint of they've taken every precaution that you could possibly ever take, and the players' safety is the number one thing here, and I think the players, everything that they asked for, everything that they tried to make them understand, the NBA tried to do it. So they felt pretty good about coming back and actually playing. They wanted to get back out and play, I think, if you ask most of the players here. So they felt, I think the biggest thing was that they felt safe coming here after everything that was done. And if you ask the coaches and any other staff members that was here, they'll tell you that they've created a very, very safe environment here, just from the standpoint of checks and balances in all situations, to get into the hotel, to get into the place to eat, to riding on the bus, to come into practice, and the way practices are set up. And I think you guys are going to be pleasantly surprised when you see the arena and the way the games are presented, because I think it's going to be very satisfying to everybody out there.
Hi, Coach. Obviously, the month of time that you guys have had is a tight window to get back in professional basketball shape. What's been the biggest challenge of only having that month and getting guys ramped back up?
Well, I think, as you said, it's just the idea of being in basketball shape. I think our guys, from a conditioning standpoint, came back in pretty good shape, but to get your basketball legs under you and feel comfortable and not just a 40-minute scrimmage, but a 48-minute game, I still think that takes a little time. So it remains to be seen how they're going to react to a 48-minute game. But I think as coaches, we'll play a lot more guys, and the rotation will be a little different anyway.
All right, that was Coach Gentry chiming in DC. And Coach Gentry, you can hear he covered a multitude of different subjects and topics. Of course, we're talking about some of the rookie development, which is a part of his interview that really piqued my interest, is that he talked about some of the development of the younger players. This is a very, very unique year for our rookie players. You talk about guys like Zion Williamson, who's not going to be there. But what about other guys like first-round draft picks, Jackson Hayes and NAW? So how these guys are developing. You heard what Coach Gentry said about Jackson Hayes, is that he said his one thing that expects to happen with him is that he's a big guy who's really good at screen and rolls, and that his toughest adjustments he thinks is as a big guy in the league is guarding screen and rolls. And one of the things he's got much better at and the screen is his screen and roll defense. So he mentioned that was pretty positive. And then when asked about Nickeil Alexander-Walker, aka NAW, he said he improved from the standpoint of being able to contain the ball if he's going to be on the floor. Now, defensively, the number one thing is that he has to contain the basketball, and he's done much better job since they've gotten there in practice, and he's been able to contain the ball. Some with Zion Williamson, he mentioned, was getting better just overall defensively, and from the standpoint of understanding rotations and all that kind of schematic jargon. But many other things were said, but what are your thought process on the development of these guys? Because even though this is a prolonged season, we forget that NAW and guys like Jackson Hayes are rookies. This is a very unnatural year for most. But the rookies, man, what do you think about their development, in particular NAW?
NAW, I think is going to be an amazing player for us. I've thought this since we drafted him. Actually watching his college tape at, Virginia Tech, I believe, and knowing that his cousin, Shea Alexander, and looking at that same mold, he's a similar type of player. And Shea Alexander actually took a little while to get going, but you always seen the talent was there. Wound up starting very young for the Clippers, and then, traded him to OKC where he elevated his game to the next level. Alexander, the guy he looked up to or wanted to be like is Kobe Bryant. So with that comes a mentality. Everything about that mentality has to do with discipline and putting in the work. And there ain't nothing he ain't done so far to show me that he hasn't done that. And he wants to be great, as Albert Gentry said. I think he has the ability to do that, but Albert Gentry also said that he needs to understand it's not going to happen overnight, which I agree with him. And we really don't need him to be the type of player for it to happen overnight, but his facilitation abilities need to improve and get better because we truly don't have a backup point guard. Drew Holiday is our backup point guard. I think Frank Jackson is being kind of molded to take the spot of Etuan Moore. He's going to be kind of that guy, somebody you can put in there, play solid defense, 1 to 3, little undersized for 3, but still able to kind of get it done and get you some points off the bench. But Nikolai, I think, is going to have to mold into that backup point guard role, and he'll be able to get some time, man. And I kind of like his development, especially what I heard about him being upset about not getting time and actually requesting and asking to go to the G League just so he could play. Broke his wrist and his right wrist, which is his main wrist, and he learned how to shoot with his left and played in the G League with a broken wrist just because he wanted to play. I mean, to me, that speaks to mentality, man, and mentally, I think he just has the bearings to be able to figure it out, even though he may not be there yet. We don't know what he looked like or what he's been doing during the quarantine, so we may see a totally different player with some of these scrimmage games or some of these 8 tournament games that we have where maybe we blow a team out and they give him some minutes.
Yeah, we have several other interviews. We're going to tune up. Josh Hart's coming up next. We have one with NAW as well. We're going to play those on the other side of the break. Before we approach that, now we speaking about NAW, and I guess we could kind of add that close to that, but the fact that we spoke only about Zion Williamson and his impact and how it will be Pelicans will be able to deal with it. I have to say, Derek Favors and the rest of these guys, they're healthy. And the truth be told is that the Pelicans are just loaded. They can adjust to different lineups. You mentioned Nico Melli. I mentioned Derek Favors. Jackson Hayes was mentioned as he's going to be called.
Yeah, Jackson Hayes. I'm looking forward to seeing what he's been doing, man. I haven't been hearing a lot about him. I hope he grew defensively because that's what we need.
We talk about these guys, but we also talk about the firepower. How about guys like Ingram, who's a guy that we ultimately can also count on and say that he can be a guy that can bring something to the team as well. So there are several really interesting adjustments that the team could make happen to fill in for Zion Williamson. And once again, there is no timetable on how long Zion Williamson will be gone. That is yet to be determined. So he could very well come back in time for the resumed or restarted NBA season. And to your point about what it looks like. You have several different courts that'll be played. And then, of course, my mentality, if I can imagine for a second, looking at some of the pictures from where they intend to play, having all of these teams playing in multiple games, it'll be definitely a tournament setting. Like one team comes off the court, another team comes on the court. You can have several different courts operating, and one team coming. It'll be fun to watch this nonstop environment because it'll be a world of basketball. These guys are not going to travel very far to end the bubble, and they'll be committed to that whole situation for the summation of the regular season and then to the playoff environment. And it's going to be really interesting to see these guys take care of it. So the NBA is going to continue to doing their testing and all those procedures and everything's been hashed out. So it'll be interesting. Now, before we go into the rest of the business, we're going to take a break. When we come back on the other side of the break, we'll play some interviews. We have Josh Hart, who's coming up. We'll play some interviews by NAW, and we'll cover the Pelicans' firepower off the bench, because an interesting question about NAW is, and DC brought this up some time ago, and I rebuffed them on the idea, but we'll cover that on the other side of the break. Listening to the Pelican post-game report on the PRO Media Network. We'll be back. Remington Tax Solutions is a company that, together with their partners, provide virtual tax consultation and preparation for individuals, small business, and nonprofit. They also provide notary and a host of other business-related services for their clients. Their associates provide a systematic yet very client-centered approach to their services. They offer the industry knowledge and insight to help solve your most complex tax issues. At Remington, their currency is time, the one resource that cannot be replenished. For that reason, they utilize the simplest and most effective forms of technology to make their services faster and more efficient. No need to wait in the office until your taxes are completed. Simply upload your documents via the Taxes to Go app or via their client portal, and they'll take care of the rest. Remington Tax Solutions is a member of the National Association of Tax Professionals and participates in the IRS Annual Filing Season Program, which is a voluntary tax education program to stay abreast of the ongoing changes in tax legislation. Remington Tax Solutions has a strong connection to the communities in which they serve. It is a part of their mission to make a positive impact on the lives of their neighbors. So, if you're looking for a reliable, effective, and trustworthy tax preparation service, Remington Tax Solutions is the business for you. Contact Remington Tax Services at their number 682-307-4410 or simply go to remingtontax.com. That's remingtontax.com. Remington Tax Service, virtual tax preparation for the individual and small business.
Get straight sports talk from the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys.
Embrace Pet Insurance is more than just pet insurance. Embrace Pet Insurance promises to provide genuine support and certainty when your pet needs it the most. With personalized accident and illness policies, compassionate customer care, 24/7 access to veterinary professionals, flexible wellness plans, timely claims processing, and online customer portals, their values is what makes them Embrace. So, when selecting a pet insurance company as a partner in your pet's care, you deserve a company that has your pet's best interests at heart. Get top-rated and reviewed coverage for your pet today. Up to 90% back on bills at any vet, total protection, pet insurance and wellness, and dependable claims payments. Get the top-rated and reviewed coverage for your pet today. Go to EmbracePetInsurance.com. That's EmbracePetInsurance.com. Check the link in the description section below.
Get all the latest news and updates from your New Orleans Pelicans at the Pelicans Eye View, the new and official Pelicans Daily Journal, covering everything Pelicans. Attention, everyone. Get breakdown on games, free agent signings, and potential moves. Unbiased opinions and straight up facts with statistical analysis from G Valley. Go to www.thesportsdaily.com/Pelicans-I-View.
Are you a boxing fan? Check out Ring Kings Boxing only on the PRO Media Network.
Do you need a domain name? How about a host for your website that can work with WordPress? Try Namecheap.com. They make registering, hosting, and managing domain names for yourself or others easy and affordable because the internet needs people. Namecheap is an ICANN accredited domain register and technology company founded in 2000. It's one of the fastest growing American companies according to the 2018 Inc. 5000. Celebrating nearly 2 decades of providing unparalleled levels of service, security, and support. Namecheap has been steadfast in customer satisfaction with over 10 million domains under management. Namecheap is among the top domain registers and web providers in the world. They offer a full selection of popular and unique domains along with fully featured hosting packages, SSL security certificates, WhoisGuard privacy protections, and more, all at the lowest prices in the industry. So if you need a domain name or hosting or anything else, think Namecheap.com. That's right, Namecheap.com. Check the description section below for link.
There's a lot of reasons to be a fan, but only NBAStore.com has all the gear.
Are you a Pelicans fan? Check out the Pelican postgame report on the PRO Media Network.
You're listening to the Pelicans postgame report on the PRO Media Network for all things Pelicans.
For all things Pelicans, you're now tuned to the Pelican postgame report on the PRO Media Network. Breaking down the Pelicans, of course, the latest scrimmages, latest news on the Pelicans. For us, we covered a lot of stuff in the first segment of the show. And this side of the live stream, we'll then broadcast, we'll cover some more information pertaining to the Pelicans. We have several interviews, and up front, before we get into any more talk, we got Josh Hart tuned up, and let's listen to Josh Hart as he talks about his contribution and what practice looked like this time around.
You've played with Lonzo for a while. I was looking at some of his passing numbers and just number of assists he has when he's behind the half-court line. What do you think about the way he throws the ball ahead in transition and the pace that he kind of makes the team play?
Yeah, I mean, he makes it play at an unbelievable pace. I mean, being able to make a pinpoint pass from three-quarters court, whether that's, for three, for JJ or Twan or somebody in the corner, or, a lob to Zion. So, I mean, it's such an advantage for us being able to have that. I mean, if a team scores and 2 seconds later we get a lob to Zion for a dunk, I mean, as, for the other team it's deflating, and for us it's a big, it helps with momentum.
Josh, David Grubb with the Bird Rights. A couple quick things. Number one, can you just talk about the excitement of having this opportunity to compete for the playoffs? And the second, when you look at the rookies, Jackson and Nikhil and Zion, mentally, what did you notice about them and their growth over the time that you guys were apart?
I mean, the first part of that question, I'm very excited to compete for a playoff spot. I've never been, a lot of the guys in there haven't been to the playoffs, so that's the goal for us this season is to make it to the playoff, and we think that's a very reachable goal. But the second part of that question, I mean, they've been so strong mentally. Rookie year, it's draining. You go from being one of the top options on your college team to, playing big minutes to, you never know what, game by game what it's going to be, whether it's going to be someone goes down with an injury or foul trouble, or you go in and you make a couple shots, play well, and, next thing you know, you're playing more minutes. So they've done an amazing job mentally, just staying strong, because I was there. A lot of guys that were rookies would tell you, man, it's one of the hardest years you have in the league. So they've done an amazing job, and we're going to definitely need them for this next 2-3 week stretch.
All right, DC, that was Josh Hart. Josh Hart broke down several really interesting things, but if you listen to Josh Hart, you know that his name is his game. His name should be Josh Big Hart, because that's who the hell he is, and that's what he plays with. And I mean, if anybody has the right name for his game, it's definitely this kid. This guy is awesome. He's a good rebounder at the position he plays. He can play any one of the point guard, the off guard, and the small forward. I've seen him battling there.
Power forward too, Big Q. Don't forget that.
I've seen him stick his nose in there down there and fight for rebounds. He's a perfect Pelican that you would want to come in off the bench if you need him to start a few games because you have an issue with Drew Holiday missing some games and some time. You can plug Josh Hart right in there. You seen what he's talking about, how practice is going. He seemed quite upbeat about the development moving forward. Your takes on Josh Hart moving into the scrimmages and, of course, ultimately to the restart season and what he could bring to this team moving forward.
I think he's a little bit of I wouldn't quite say an X factor, but I don't know what the one is right up under that. But Josh Hart is going to be a key contributor. He always has been the whole season, and with Zion out, I don't know if a lot of people realized he was one of those guys that was forced into the lineup that actually stepped up. As you were talking about all the tremendous things he does and Hart being a great name for him, which is true. He played minutes at the power forward. You know what I'm saying? He does a little bit of everything, man. I haven't seen him really bring the ball up and facilitate, but everything else outside of that, Josh Hart is capable of doing. Excellent player. Glad he's on our team, and I think he's going to be one of those guys that makes an impact, constantly in and out of the lineup. Not quite a starter, but he's definitely going to see some minutes.
Yeah, I think I have to agree with you on that. I think Josh Hart is definitely, man, he's going to see a lot of minutes off the bench. And truth be said, I would consider him the sixth man if it wasn't for J.J. Redick. But Josh Hart is really a key contributor, man, that comes in and makes it happen. Like we say, he plays several different positions and plays each one with passion and heart. And love the kid. Plus he's really smart. So, I mean, we got to lock this kid up.
Fun dude, too, man. He puts a lot of stuff on Twitter. You can hear him in his interviews. Likes to crack jokes. He's truly lighthearted, like his podcast suggests.
Yeah, he's terrific. I mean, I love his game. I love what he brings to the team. And just to throw this out there about the trade that occurred, because it seemed like a millennium ago that we sent the unhappy Anthony Davis packing to Los Angeles, and we picked up three guys that was willing to come in and make names for themselves. Since that trade, we've uncovered all-star. We knew he had all-star potential. Ever since then, he's developed into it's official, an all-star brand. I'm speaking about Brandon Ingram, a 24, 25-point game scorer. Josh Hart is a glue guy. That's what you call him, because that's what he is. He's a glue guy. He comes in, make things happen. And then you look at the other guy, which is Lonzo Ball, who had his laws in development, but you can see Lonzo really stepping his game up as well. So I just listen. You can. It's hard to get straight up value for a guy like Anthony Davis, but the Pelicans, not just besides the draft picks and all that kind of stuff, they did a tremendous job in getting these young players into the system, and they have really developed. They've all played with chips on their shoulders, as they all have on these one-year deals. Hopefully, we can get something done where we bring. At least, definitely Brandon Ingram and Josh Hart back and perhaps work with Lonzo Ball. Okay, the next interview that we got lined up for the team, NAW, Nicole Alexander Walker chimes in on his practice and how he feels.
How much do you think being able to join the team in the bubble and participating in these practices has helped you kind of grow your game compared to where you were before, the season shut down?
Oh, man, it's a dream come true. I mean, the way I'm looking at it, it's like a basketball academy. And I mean, it's giving me a chance to focus. It's giving me a chance to be around other great players and really focus on the task at hand. So I think it's extremely beneficial to me. So I'm taking advantage of every moment. Well, I mean, I think it really just comes naturally. I mean, even growing up as a kid, I used to get in trouble in class for talking too much. So I just found a way to transfer it and make it something positive. My energy and the way I approach every day just comes from my love for the game, my love for being around my teammates, and the situation I'm in. It wasn't promised, and I'll never take any moment for granted. And I'm happy to be here. And every moment I'm here, I'm gonna make it known.
All right, Fowler, that was NAW chiming in on his thought process about practice and whatnot. DC, what's interesting about this kid, man, that, I want to talk about is that you mentioned this a while ago before the season started, or in the youngness of the NBA season, was the fact that you spoke about NAW with the potential to be a point guard. And I rebuffed the idea saying that at the time, NAW, it appeared to me like he was a guy that was a scorer first, and he had to develop that portion of his game. But you've seen something in his game that spoke to the fact that you felt like he could be a better fit at the point guard position than Lonzo Ball. I rebuffed you and said, no, he's not that developed. His game is not that what Lonzo Ball's game is. Lonzo gets everybody involved. Nickeil Alexander-Walker is not that. But now that you're seeing NAW playing in practices, what are your thought process on his mind frame? You heard what Coach Gentry said in his interview. What's your take on NAW? As a backup, as a point guard coming off the bench, like you mentioned earlier in the year.
Right. First, I got to clarify one thing before you make me look like I was putting my foot in my mouth. I said no. I said NAW could potentially be our starting point guard if Lonzo Ball doesn't take the next step. I always seen what Lonzo Ball is. And he is very reminiscent of, I guess you would say, a Jason Kidd prototype. But moving on to talk about –
a lot of praise.
Hey, it's the truth as far as the way his game is, man. He's all about pass first, man. I mean, who's the prototype for a pass first point guard? To me, it'd be Jason Kidd. You're going to say John Stockton? Magic Johnson too, but I mean, that's a little high up there, man. I mean, Magic Johnson is probably top 5 basketball player ever. Maybe top 7, however you want to rank that.
Just his ability to electrify his team by getting guys involved. That's a unique skill set that people have, and Ball does have that ability.
He has it.
His issue was when he's alone hitting the wide open 3-point shot, which he's added at his game.
I think it's the wide open free throw, but we getting off subject a little bit talking about him.
Okay, take it back to where you wanted.
NAW, man, what I saw in him is the potential and ability to adapt and handle pressure. And as I learned more about him and seeing the pedigree that he came from, I mean, this is a guy that basically his cousin was in the NBA, and he's playing one-on-one ball with him during the summer, trying to be better. So he just strikes me as a competitor. And it's like, if you tell him he can't do something, he going to work on it till he can get it. And during the summer league, I saw him showcasing his ability to be a point guard, which was when you heard me make those statements, because I think the Pelicans knew who Lonzo Ball was. They understand we have Drew Holiday as well, but we needed a backup point guard. They know who Frank Jackson is at this point. Frank Jackson's never going to be a true point guard. Now, we could play him at point guard, but he's going to be Mo Williams type point guard, just a score first guy, maybe get a couple of assists here and there. NAW, though, he just seems to have this instinct or ability, a natural ability for the game to me, bro. He just loves ball. That's how I see it. And people that love ball and they're willing to do anything to be great or better their craft, they usually learn to be facilitators if you follow the track record of a lot of players. I mean, Kobe Bryant, was he known to be a facilitator when he was younger? No, but he developed that aspect of his game because it was needed. When it was needed, he developed it. If NAW wants to see significant minutes on the floor, he has to develop that ability. And we also have to look at Alvin Gentry and give him some credit, because we do beat him up when he deserved to get beat up on this show. But we have to give him credit for developing.
We are fair with Alvin Gentry on this show.
We beat him up, man. But we do give him credit, too, because he's an excellent offensive mind, and I don't think either one of us has ever hesitated to say that. He was responsible for Eric Bledsoe, Gordon Dragic. He was around for that Warriors run. Everywhere Alvin Gentry has been, it typically has at least average to above average point guard play. Eric Bledsoe, from what I remember, being with being under Chris Paul, was kind of like a score first point guard type to me, and he developed that ability to be way more of a facilitator. Is he the best facilitator in the game? No, but Eric Bledsoe can man a team. Gordon Dragic probably was more talented, but Alvin Gentry to me does great with guards. We had a couple of bad examples on our team. What was the dude, Tim, whatever his name was? He never panned out. Tim Frazier. I don't know what Alvin Gentry saw in Tim Frazier. Never panned out. But he was. He's very timid. But bearing a few bumps in the road, when you have the confidence and you have the ability to get after it, I think Alvin Gentry with NAW would definitely help him possess that ability to be able to be a facilitator, or at least enough of a facilitator to be a very good backup point guard for us.
Well, I mean, that's absolutely the case, bro. And I think NAW has the potential to step up and do some pretty terrific things. You're absolutely right. That's true talk. I can't buck you on that. I still see if he can add that component to his game. I mean, the shooting, the scoring ability, his size. He's not bad defensively either. He needs to work on that area of it. But I mean, he could really be an interesting option to have. If you roll Lonzo there, you keep Lonzo, then you bring NAW off the bench. He's a guy, you can keep those big guards coming. We can retain that size of, 6'6", 6'7" guys there for a while, with Lonzo and of course, Drew has 6'5". We can keep size at the guard position, and I love it. And, of course, the scoring ability as well. Now,
yeah, you have to understand that I think for Virginia Tech, he averaged about 4 or 5 assists too. So facilitating is not exactly foreign to him.
Right. I was about to say, it's not like it's an alien concept. I think with most young players, they come into the league, they have a propensity to jump out and say, look, we're going to, I want to show what I can do. I want to show I can score the ball. And they do that. And you've seen them do that early on. And then ultimately you've seen his minutes decrease because, you've seen his minutes decrease.
He came out there like he had the green light, man. That dude was jacking up some wild shots, bro.
Right. He was hitting some of them at first, and then shots stopped falling from him. You see his numbers started to decrease because you got to be able to work into the flow of the game. And of course, we know Elvin Gentry is a guy that promotes them to take these wide open shots, to take these things, whatnot. But ultimately, it worked. It's a learning curve. It's a learning process. Now, of course, DC moving ahead, looking at the rest of the information, dealing with the Pelicans. Lonzo reacted to being mentioned. Well, they talked about him being mentioned as most improved player conversation. And, of course, yeah, you're right. Lonzo Ball, father did mention that as well.
Right.
That he's seen the Pelicans could be able to knock off the Lakers, which is big talk because the Lakers are considered a favorite by many this year, including Stephen A. Smith, to name a few people.
They always ride with whoever number one. You know how they go.
He's LeBron pays his rent. So, I mean, what's your thought process on confidence that, of course, Lonzo Ball, Brandon Ingram, you got Drew Holiday, everybody's healthy and ready, rearing to go. We just missing Zion because of the family issue.
What I heard Lonzo say was they talked about him being the most improved player, and he was like, oh, that's good, but, I just want to win. And, if you heard it wrong, you would think he's talking about winning the most improved player. He basically said he didn't care about that. He wants to make the playoffs. Right. And I think that's great, man. That's a great way to look at it. That's an excellent message for the team. Drew Holiday earlier this week also came out saying similar things, saying he thinks we can get to the playoff. Slender Man, a.k.a. Brandon Ingram, we ain't heard nothing from him yet, but I'm sure he feels the same way too. So I love it. I love it. And for them to have that mentality, even though what may or may not be the situation with Zion, I love it, man. We have a next man up mentality. I guess it just permeates down from the whole organization because the Saints are pretty much the same way. So this is amazing to me for them to be like that and say it so candidly. It doesn't sound forced. Don't sound like they're putting on for the mic. It just sounds like this is really what those guys believe, man. And I've been hearing the reporters talking about watching them in practice. They're saying they look like they got better as opposed to actually being forced to relearn stuff and try to adapt or equate themselves with each other. They're saying they're looking great in practice. So I love it, man, and I'm just looking forward to seeing it all being put down because Lonzo Ball got a lot to prove, man. He's been playing good back end of the season, and a lot of people still ain't giving him credit. A few mainstream people came out and had to bite their tongue a little bit, man. The guy was playing awesome maybe the last 7 or 8 games before the season ended, so be excellent to see him back on the court and continue that style of play to back it up with his play that we could get there. I'd be really excited if he does that.
Yeah, JJ Redick, he praised on him a few days ago, giving praise out to Lonzo Ball and talked about him and Brandon Ingram. He predicts the same for Ball sooner or later. He was quoted the same quote. I think both guys have taken steps forward. The scary thing is they probably haven't reached their ceiling yet. They're such young players and have such physical gifts that they're still learning how to use. Both those guys took huge steps forward. You saw B.I. make an all-star game. Lonzo will be an all-star someday. So both of these guys have such a bright future. And as their teammate, it's great to see them improve and play at such a high level. That's end quote by JJ Redick. Now, a lot of people don't really, just like you just gave praise to Elvin Gentry for helping develop some of these young players. But J.J. Redick has to be given praise to working with Lonzo Ball, because a lot of people, they talk about Fred Vincent. And Fred Vincent deserves a lot of credit for working with Zoe Ball on his shot structure. But a lot of people have to remember that J.J. Redick really also, he really contributed majorly to Lonzo Ball's confidence and shooting the three-pointer. If I had a teammate like J.J. Redick, who's arguably one of the best three-point shooters of his time, not better than Ray Allen, we're not going to get crazy and say he was better than Steph Curry or Ray Allen or Reggie Lewis.
Definitely, he's a top 10 three-point shooter.
Miller,
he's a top 10.
No doubt about it. Top 10, in my opinion, better than Kyle Korver. But this guy here is your teammate. And he got the knock on him for many years of being a guy who doesn't play defense well and all that kind of stuff. He reinvented his game. He got more gritty on the defensive end. But it don't matter what J.J. Redick doing. He'll rise up to take a three. He doesn't have to have the perfect form. He could be leaning either way and still will get his form off and hit the shot. He's a master three-point shooter. And don't believe for a second that guys like Frank Jackson, NAW, and Lonzo Ball haven't learned from J.J. Redick.
He say NAW follows him around everywhere he go. He asks him, can he come?
Right. Let me get some of that knowledge on that three, because J.J. is his form is perfect. He's I call him a master three-point shooter. He could be leaning left or right. He don't have to be perfectly formed up to knock it down. You seen J.J. Redick run up to the three-point line before the buzzer sounded on the quarter and he'll rise up and knock the shot down. So I can understand what NAW doing in terms of trying to learn and pick the brain of one of the leagues, like you said, a top 10 three-point shooter in all of NBA history. J.J. Redick is definitely a guy that you want to learn that skill from. So DC, that was the final topic. Any closing thoughts on the Pelican post-game report before we close the show?
Yeah, man, I just wanted to mention while you were talking about Lonzo Ball, with him, and he came out and complimented Lonzo Ball and said that he was playing as good a basketball as all the best point guards in the league. And there was an article I remember reading where they were showing the way he was playing towards the back end of the season, and they were comparing him to pretty much all the players in the league. And it was only 4 or 5 players that you could put above Lonzo Ball when you looked at his assists, rebounds, and points. And it was probably Luka Doncic, James Harden, maybe Russell Westbrook in there, like LeBron or somebody. And he was the 5th guy behind those. Very interesting set of events as far as Lonzo Ball and people finally giving him a little bit of his just due. And Alvin Gentry said that he would the team trusts him, and he's basically almost handing the keys of the offense finally over to Lonzo Ball. And they had some stuff on Twitter showing Alvin Gentry encouraging him and telling him there's no reason you shouldn't be an 80% free throw shooter. So it's amazing that you brought that topic up, because that was one of the biggest things I was looking forward to. These scrimmages and these play-in tournaments, to see the improvement and ascension of Lonzo Ball in just the fundamental areas of the game, cutting the turnovers down, hitting those free throws, and getting that mid-range, a little mid-range jumper or something, and a nice floater. Increasing that layup package, man, so you don't have no whole goal layups. Just simple stuff. All he has to do is increase that, and I think we're going to see a major player in Lonzo Ball, man. Potentially all-star, like J.J. Redick said, down the line, maybe 2 years from now. So, but that's it. That's all I wanted to comment on, man. And hopefully everything's all right with Zion. Wishing him the best, him and his family, man. Because for them to be this quiet on this issue, it must be something really serious. So, deeper than basketball, I hope everything just goes right with their family, man, whether he don't play or not.
Well said, DC, and we definitely concur on that, and no doubt about it, man. Zion Williams hoping his family is everything is fine, man, moving forward. Sometimes, life is bigger than basketball, and, you have to be able to watch that. So hopefully Zion returns after his business is taken care of. But this team is built for anything. I mean, they are loaded with talent all over the place. It's different matchups that Gentry can roll out against any team. And trust me, the Pelicans are a headache for anybody lining up coming into the playoffs. So Pelicans, look out for the PELS, man. We are back and we are rolling. So I thank everybody for tuning in to the Pelican Post-Game Report tonight. Much love to all of our Pelican people. Please feel free to subscribe to the broadcast. If you aren't a subscriber, we are 100% total Pelican podcast dedicated to the Pelicans. Through and through, we'll be doing broadcasts 2 times a week. We'll do a live show on the weekend. During the week, we'll have a tape show. As things are ratcheting up, the Pelican season getting ready to start real soon. We'll be on top of it, both me and DC. So I'd like to thank y'all for joining us tonight on the Pelican Post-Game Report. Much love to you. So peace out. DC, thank you, man.
Roll out.
DC, be safe on the road, family. And I'll talk to you later.
All right, my man.
All right. Peace to you. And peace to everybody out there. Y'all keep it safe. And we'll see you later. Peace out.
Are you a Pelicans fan? Check out the Pelican Post-Game Report on the PRO Media Network.
The Kleins family has been getting people to go nuts for old nuts since 1995. As legends have it, a number of the Kleins friends who heard the idea said you can go nuts trying to name a store like that. In the excitement, the Kleins thought their friends said old nuts instead of go nuts and proceeded to throw caution to the wind. Old Nuts has over 2,000 items, bulk and wholesale prices of a whole lot of your favorite fruits, nuts, and confections, a selection of gift baskets for any budget, any occasion, and provides one of the best and impressively rated shopping experiences on the web. Fact is, between their selection, service, speed, or their online presence in the virtual mirror retail experience, they have developed an enviable client base that's comprised of personal and professional customers who count on their remarkable range of gift baskets. Think of gift basket, think about Old Nuts. Check them out, oldnuts.com. Check the link in the description section below.
Tea is your escape. It's your opportunity to create a moment for stillness, for reflection, for yourself. It's your connection to a world of senses, flavors both exotic and familiar, energizing and relaxing. It's your retreat from an increasingly turbulent world. It's the perfect paradox of simplicity and complexity. Teabox.com connects tea to people, uniting the richest flavors of the finest teas with the curious, the cultivated, and the adventurous all over the world. The freshest tea you've ever tasted, from crop to cup. There's simply no simpler way to experience the wonderful complexity of tea. Teabox, packing up the freshness. Tea thrives on freshness, and so do they. Teabox temperature and humidity control facility ensure that tea is maintained. The teas themselves go into oblique bags with aluminum layers that protect them from excess moisture and light. With Teabox, shopping for fresh, loose leaf tea is easy because you make an informed purchase. You know exactly where your tea is coming from. So for the freshest teas in the world, check out Teabox.com. That's right, Teabox.com. Check the link in the description section below.
Are you a boxing fan? Check out Ring Kings Boxing only on the PRO Media Network.
Go to newfrog.com for all of your electronic gadget needs. Fast becoming #1 online seller of cell phone and accessories, consumer electronics, automobiles and motorcycles, home and garden items, 5D diamond painting crafts, electrical and tool supplies, computer and networking supplies, lights and lighting supplies, sports and travel items, toys and hobby supplies, apparel and accessory, mother and kid items, health and beauty items, and much, much more. Newfrog.com has up to 70% off on some products. And you can check out their weekly promotions for all the best deals. Remember, when thinking online electronics and gadgets, think New Frog. Newfrog.com. Check the link in the description section below.
In today's world, children are bombarded with negativity on television, online, and at school. Our kids need to have a positive outlook on life and the world around them. I want to share with you a valuable resource you can use to bring positivity into your child's life. It's the new book, 101 Powerful Children Affirmations, a guide to positive child self-image, from author and dad, G.J. Barabino. This is a simple guide loaded with wonderful and inspirational affirmations designed to uplift young people's spirits. This positive and powerful children affirmational is chock full and loaded with wonderful inspirational sayings that will lift your child's self-image to whole new levels through the awesome power of spoken word. 101 Powerful Children Affirmations, a guide to positive child self-image from author and dad G.J. Barabino. Available on Amazon. Order a copy for yourself, your child's teachers, or anyone you know with children. 101 Powerful Children Affirmations, a guide to positive child self-image. Order your copy today.
What's up, Sports World? The PRO Media Network is on a mission to reach 10,000 subscribers. So besides our regular programs like the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys, the Pelican Post Game Report, Rapid Fire TSC, and others, we will be expanding out and offering other content like movie, anime, and gaming reviews for your entertainment. So if you enjoy our content, please donate at our Patreon page. Also subscribe, comment, and share. And help the PRO Media Network reach 10,000 subs. Peace.